You found the STIHL National Championship Air Races presented by Reno Tahoe.
Last there, Tommy, was Joey Gordo Sanders in race 5 out of Jasper, Alabama. So that rounds out our field of 7, and we're getting close.
5 laps should take very long for each one of those laps right there. Again, these are not feather touch airplanes here. These are big, heavy monsters. You got to wrestle them around the course, and it asks a lot of a pilot.
Yeah, absolutely it does. You know, like we talked a while ago, they said if you could fly this, you could fly anything. They did call it the pilot maker. And a lot of reasons for that, but it's just a lot of airplane to fly. Now here you see the graphic of what it's going to look like. There you see the pace plane in red pulling up. Our aircraft will be side by side, and here they come, Tommy. We're about ready to get started.
All right, 7 abreast as they come towards the start and finish line, which will signal the start of our race. And there we go. It looked like Chris Rushing, race 14, our number 1 qualifier, with a slight lead as they head into the first pylon. That's the money sound right there.
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. That's that Pratt & Whitney air-cooled 9-cylinder, 1,340 cubic inch engine that we talked about. Now, if you heard that little crackling or popping sound, what that is, the low rumble's the motor. That crackling sound is actually that 9-foot-long metal Hamilton standard prop. The tips are going supersonic, and those are mini sonic booms that you're hearing. So here's they come around. Let's listen to them again, Tommy.
There you go, race 14, Chris Rushing, number 1 qualifier, stepping out in front. Not a lot of breathing room. John Lomar's putting the heat on him, as is Joel Stinnett in race 43.
We got a tight race there in the back. You can see with Greg McNeely in race 90 overtaking race 50 in the Abracadabra. Very tight racing. There we are back to our leader, Chris Rushing in Barron's Revenge. But, man, that sound is something, Tommy. The sound of freedom, as they say.
Oh, man, that's what thrills so many of the partisans in the stands here, and us, too.
Yeah, the T6 crowd is rightfully so, has a huge, huge following. The radial engine crowd is long and they're deep. There's a lot of them, and rightfully so. This is just such a historic, unique class, but, man, it's neat to see these warbirds flying. Truly match racing, Tommy, between stock aircraft. You know, so we're going to get to see the pilot skill here, and you see on your screen there, you can see the aircraft right in the middle and the one in the back taking a little bit higher line. But there, as we jump back to our leader, that's Chris Rushing in race 14. He's really got it rolling. He started on the pole, and he's just continued to stay right out front.
We'll listen to him pass. Chris Rushing gaining about a second, it looked like, over John Lomar during the course of that second lap right there. As we swing into lap number 3 of 5. This one's going by very, very quickly. And somebody better do something if they want to run down Chris Rushing.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't take long for them to get around, and we've got a great battle here on the screen. Look at the, again, we have that 50-foot minimum altitude for this class as well. And you can see race 50 right there. That's Vitaly Percheski. And a great race going on there, and now we've jumped back to our leader. Like you said, Chris Rushing is out front in Barron's Revenge, and he's just doing very, very, very well. And you saw him pass the pylon there. He knows he's out in front. He's not cutting those pylons too close at all.
There's your race behind him between John Lomar, Joel Stinnett, I believe it was.
The white airplane there is race 90, Greg McNeely. And as they make those final couple pylons and come towards the home stretch, looks like Greg's going to be able to get up beside him here. This is going to be really exciting. The very, very close racing between these two.
Race 66, that's Vic McMahon, gunslinger. Back to our leader. Still Chris Rushing, the two-time gold medalist, 2016, 2019 here in T6.
It's great to see. You can see these settling down at that 50-foot altitude, just accelerating down the backside of the course. And again, they're on our 5-mile medium-length course here, and as there you see him begin to make the turn there at pylons 4, 5, 6, and 7. And he's going to be headed right over our pylon cam here. There he is right there, right over the top.
There's race 66, Vic McMahon trying to hold off Greg McNeely. Greg McNeely, who's won T6 races here before.
White flag, white flag.
That's a good race right there.
Absolutely. You can see Greg is having a pass on the outside. So Vic McMahon has the inside track, and that's all that's holding off Greg right now is that shorter track. This is a fantastic race right here, Tommy. I mean, look at that. Greg just continues to stay right in his ear. You know, he's doing all he can here as they roll out coming down the home stretch. Headed for the home pylon. They're both going to roll wings level and try to accelerate.
Vic McMahon trying to hold him off. Greg McNeely back to our leaders right now.
And Tommy, we're in the white flag lap. So halfway done now is race 14 and Chris Rushing in the lead. He's only got half a lap left. All things go normal. We expect him to be the unofficial checkered flag winner here in just a second. We will see.
Looks like the odds-on favorite to take it wire to wire in this T6 Heat 1A. Great way to start off his racing week here in Reno, Tahoe.
Just fantastic shots for our fans at home from our pylon cams there. Look at that. You get to see that big radial engine coming right into your living room. It's amazing.
Checkered flag, checkered
Just a
flag.
smooth finish right there. A perfect, seemingly perfect 5 laps here.
Covering runway 08.
Unofficially, Chris Rushing, your winner, race 14.
Here's that tight race towards the back of the pack, Tommy, between Greg McNeely and Vic McMahon. And you can see they're still battling out, coming around those final couple pylons. And it's going to be a tight one here. We'll see what they do when they roll out.
This is for 4th place. It looks like McMahon has the edge here. Looks like he's going to get the job done. Yep. 5th place is going to be McNeely. Oh, and there's a flourish at the finish right there.
Boy,
Big Red, Joey Gordo-Sanders.
He
Going
really,
after Vitaly Pajerski.
he really came on there at the end,
He
didn't he?
did.
That was really close. We're going to have to go back and look at the replay. I mean, that got really close there at the home pylon.
We have had some great final 2 spots in a race finishes today. Photo finishes for last and next to last.
Here was our start, Tommy, and you remember they come down over the runway, down the home stretch, make that first turn, and here you see some great shots. Let's listen to them as they kind of come around here. And there's Chris Rushing in race 14. He had the pole, he got out front, and you can just hear that supersonic tips of that big 9-foot Hamilton Standard metal prop. Just an amazing sound for these big radial engines and those props as they go by. We had so many races within the race, Tommy. You know, all the way back. You just talked about towards the back, but in the middle of the pack too. 4th place and 5th place was a big race all race long. Behind them, 6 and 7 was a big race all week long, or all race long, excuse me. So it was, man, excitement from the front to the back all along, and that's why this is the Heat 1A, right? This is the folks in the gold class right now. And don't forget, the other classes can bump up or bump down. So there we are. Here comes our winner coming around the corner here, Tommy.
Chris Rushing with his eyes on a 3rd gold medal here at the STIHL National Championship Air Races. Passing by the grandstands, getting himself past the STIHL start-finish pylon there to take the unofficial victory. T6 Heat 1A.
Now here was the battle back for 4th place with Vic McMahon and Greg McNeely. It's not quite as close at the finish as it was all race long, but man, these two fought it out tooth and nail all race long.
There comes our winner, the Baron's Revenge. Back to earth here. Ready for a brief celebration before turning their eyes to the remainder of the week, and that means a lot more racing.
Yeah, and Tommy, don't forget, we talked about this airplane being the pilot maker and how hard it is to fly. One of the reasons is this airplane has a very high center of gravity. You can see those landing gear and the tail wheel comes down. It's really hard to steer. It's got a narrow wheelbase. You go to the P-51 Mustang, the wheels are a lot farther apart. It's a lot more stable. This thing is really not quite as stable on the ground, and they say in a T6, you're not done flying it until you turn the engine off when you're in the parking spot. It's a flight all the way to the end. So just because they've landed, it's still a handful until they get all the way back to the ramp and turn everything off.
You're watching the STIHL National Championship Races presented by Reno Tahoe. You'll find the full show on Fox FS2 and FS1 from February to July.